The Kremlin has revealed details of an unannounced meeting between the Russian and Syrian presidents on Monday. It took place in the Black Sea resort of Sochi with talks lasting 4 hours. Let's get the latest now. RT's Jacqueline Vouga joining us live here on the program. Jacqueline, a surprise meeting, and yet no surprise, I suppose. The situation in Syria was the main focus of discussion.
Well, yes, of course, clearly not a surprising topic, but out of those talks did come a rather significant announcement, with the two leaders confirming that the military operations in the country really look to be on their last leg, which would, of course, be a historical turning point in the conflict. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
At this stage, especially after victories against terrorism, we are of course interested in advancing the political process.
You just mentioned the conclusion of the military operation. I think that the problem of terrorism is global. We're far from defeating it globally, but when it comes to our operation against terrorists in Syria, the military operation is indeed concluding.
Now, it's important to remember, of course, that just 2 years ago, Syria was overrun by ISIL. But at this point, they've been ejected from all major towns and cities, and really their presence can only be found in a few smaller villages in the country. And because of that, the two leaders were able to begin discussions of what a political solution in the country will look like. This was, of course, the second time that Assad has visited Russia to meet with Putin in the course of the country's 6-year civil war. The first time happened back in 2015 when Russia began its military operations in the country at the request of the government. And now we have this second meeting coming as it looks like the military operations are coming to an end, sort of bookending Russia's participation in military operations in the country. Assad also said that he is ready and willing to work with anyone who has a goal of peace and settlement in the country. And of course, the de-escalation zones that were created in Syria were again praised for what they mean, for what they signify, for being really the first steps to getting the opposition groups to come to the table and talk, which is pivotal to finding a resolution to the crisis in the country. Putin also emphasized that Russia does expect the UN to be an active participant in the settlement, in the final stages of the settlement of the country, and announced that he will be speaking today by phone with President Trump and a number of regional leaders on the future of Syria. And of course, it's also important to note that Russia is hosting a Syrian summit with officials from Iran and Turkey tomorrow, also to take place in Sochi. And those three states have backed negotiations between representatives from the opposition groups and the government a number of times this year. And those negotiations led to the creation of those very de-escalation zones, which of course have already produced a significant drop in violence in the country. So now we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in this in the near future as things sort of seem to be wrapping up and more people are coming to the table.
Yeah, and interesting, Jackie, that as you say, President Putin will be speaking with President Trump on the phone today about possibly this resolution to resolve the conflict in Syria. Jacqueline Vouga, thank you very much.